In the second video on simplifying algebraic fractions, we're now going to look at adding and subtracting them together, which, like before, is exactly the same as the process with normal fractions, which does mean that it's actually a little bit more difficult because adding and subtracting normal fractions is a little bit harder than multiplying and dividing. So let's start with some normal fractions first. With these ones here, we can see that the denominator, that's the number on the bottom, is different in both examples. Let's start with when the denominator is the same. For example, 2/5 plus 1/5. Now, when the denominator is the same, all you need to do is add or subtract the numerators together, which gives us 2 plus 1 over 5, which is just 3 over 5. And we're done. However, if the denominators are different, we need to change one or both of the fractions to make sure that they are the same. The easiest way to do this is just multiply those denominators together. What we're actually looking for is the lowest common multiple. That's the smallest number that is in both, in this case, the 4 times and the 3 times tables. But the easier way to do it is just to multiply 4 and 3 together, which is 12. So that means that 1/4 can be written as a fraction out of 12, and so can 2/3. By multiplying that by 3 and also that by 3 to keep things the same, 1/4 can be turned into 3/12. Similarly, this can be made into 8/12 just by multiplying both parts by 4. So I can rewrite my original problem as 3/12 plus 8/12, which of course will be 11/12 from our rule from before, and we're done. Now in this case, 11 over 12 can't be simplified any further because there are no common factors of 11 and 12. The second problem, it's almost exactly the same. We already know that these can be turned into 3/12 and 8/12. However, of course, we're looking at subtraction now, so that means that this has a subtraction between them. This gives us 3 minus 8, which is minus 5. So our answer is a negative, which is fine because fractions can be negative just like normal numbers. And we're done. Let's look at the algebra. Here, our denominators are 2 and 3 in this first example, so we're just going to multiply those together and get a common denominator of 6. Maybe over here, we'll see that x over 2 can be written as something over 6. By multiplying both parts, we can see that should be 3x. And similarly, x over 3 can be written as 2x over 6. So our answer is going to be 3x over 6 plus 2x over 6. In the exact same way, combining our numerators, we get 5x over 6, and we're done. With subtraction, same steps, find the common denominator and then subtract those numerators. So let's do a bit of working first to find our common denominators. So 2x over 3 and x over 2. We want a common denominator, once again, of 6. So that one here is going to be 3x, and that one's going to be 4x. So making sure that we get the order right this time, that's going to be 4x over 6 minus 3x over 6, which of course is just 1x or x over 6. And we're done. The last one's a bit tricky because one part of it is not actually a fraction. Now you could think of it as a fraction, for example 2x here. You can think of that as a fraction as just 2x over 1. And we want to have a common denominator. The other denominator is 5, so we could turn this one into something out of 5. Multiply both parts by 5, I get 10x on top. So I don't actually have to change the second fraction, so the first part is 10x over 5 plus 3x over 5. Same denominators, so let's add the numerators together, and we get 13x over 5 with no need to simplify. So even though we have a whole number or part without a fraction in our problem, we can still simplify them together. And that's it. Thanks for watching.